everyone, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Molly, and today I'm going to be watching Season 1, Episode 5 of the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina from Netflix. Alright, so, where we left off. Episode 4, I felt like there was a lot of developments to the story to touch upon. For one thing, it was really enjoyable because it focused quite a bit on Sabrina's beginning of her tenure at the Academy for Unseen Arts. So there was a lot of interesting things that we got to see about the school itself, including a bit of its history and its treatment of some of its former students who they basically allowed to be bullied to death, which Sabrina luckily put a stop to. With the assistance of the spirits of those former students who were killed. We saw some developments in her relationship with Prudence and the other Weird Sisters who were going out of their way to harrow or kind of haze her, and in the kind of aftermath of what she was experiencing and her ability to get to these spirits of the formerly killed children and students on board, she was able to stop Prudence in her tracks. So Prudence got a bit of comeuppance there. But after we see Prudence kind of backing off a bit and then going to speak to Father Blackwood, I felt like we were able to gain some insight into why Prudence and the Weird Sisters were reacting to Sabrina in the extreme nature that they were. Because we had seen from the beginning that they seemed to, you know, have some sort of hatred, dislike towards her because of the fact that her mother was human, so she was only half witch, where her mother was mortal. But, it seemed really intense in the extent of things that they were willing to do to first try to convince her not to even come to the Academy, and then once she was there, really make her life hell, did seem to be over the top, especially considering that back in episode 2 they worked together and they seemed to kind of find some sort of understanding, where even Prudence was saying, oh, maybe there's more to you than I thought, maybe you'll fit in better than I thought. But then here we see in episode 4 her turning around and really almost killing her, which again seems a bit extreme, until you then find out that it seems as though Father Blackwood was really kind of trying to push them into making Sabrina's life miserable, both overtly in saying, you know, we can make her life terrible here, even though the Dark Lord wants her present, and then maybe sort of more subtly by trying to make Prudence feel a bit of jealousy, as though she needs to compare herself to Sabrina. So I thought that was really interesting, shed some light on what Prudence has maybe been going through and dealing with and why she would act that way, and also shed some more light on Father Blackwood's character, just increasing to show that he's petty and really immature in a way that he's setting out to try and disrupt the life of this teenage girl for whatever reason. We also got to see some developments with the relationship between Hilda and Zelda, in my opinion. You see some reflection on the things that have happened between them in the past in their childhood. So, you see Hilda kind of getting some sort of vicarious revenge, so to speak, by helping to prevent the harrowing going forward, the things that she herself experienced as a child and that Zelda actively participated in. I also liked that we got to see Zelda kind of sticking up for Sabrina with Father Blackwood, somebody who Zelda has kind of really seemed to suck up to throughout the course of the show so far, but she stuck up for Sabrina and really came through for her, which was nice to see. And then, of course, we see Sabrina meet another character who is most likely going to be important, which was Nick. And he kind of came through for her as well in coming up with her father's journal, which then helped her to kind of solve the puzzle assignment that she was given by Father Blackwood. So we'll see what sort of role Nick plays going forward. Seems like there's a chance that he could be some sort of a love interest, so maybe there's a kind of triangle that's building up there between her and Nick and Harvey. So we'll see about that. And then, of course, at the very end of the episode, Sabrina solves the puzzle and this sort of demon comes out, and I guess this episode is going to pick up where that left off and see how she deals with this creature that she seemingly has let loose as a result of solving her father's puzzles. So, with all of that in mind, I just want to say a quick thank you to everybody who's been watching these videos and commenting, anybody that's liked any of my videos or subscribed. I really do appreciate the support, and I'm hoping that you'll continue to enjoy this going forward. Alright, so let's get into episode 5, see what Sabrina gets up to here and how she deals with this demon. Alright, let's go.
You smell like Spellman's.
Know this, demon. Our house is sealed with an incantation we and only we know. If you harm us, you'll never escape it.
Another prison? No, no, no. Edward Spellman imprisoned me in the confront puzzle for 70 years. I'll not be caged again.
What do you want, Hellspawn?
First, revenge on the family of Edward Spellman.
Did you have twice love?
And then freedom, so I may fill the world with my sublime nightmares.
Yikes. That's a no.
I don't understand. Nightmares.
It's a sleep demon.
If it puts us to sleep, right, it's mercy. Thank you for stating the obvious, Hilda. But not to worry. It won't get the chance to. Isilda, whatever you're about to do, do it fast. Turbis et infernus in terras pariunt. Adjuro vos tamen monos. And that is how you trap a demon.
Nice.
Okay, it seems easy enough, but
Might help soothe
why do I feel like this is gonna be too simple?
sister, which is more than I can say for you lot.
They're already gonna be asleep, right? That's what's happening. This is already a dream.
Father Blackwood
She's already got him.
let me into conjuring class now, right? I mean, I solved the configuration.
Technically,
And
yeah.
learned a valuable lesson, I hope. Never open a magic box. Fatima, is that you?
Oh,
Who? You know me.
is creepy evil stalker demon woman gonna actually do something helpful?
That's right. You abandoned me, Mother. You left me to rot inside the configuration. Do not harm a hair on that child's head. The spawn of Spellman have sealed me in this house. No one in or out, not even you. And so, I shall plunder their minds and orchestrate a symphony of nightmares. Until one of them cracks like an egg and tells me the spell that unlocks this house. And then, demon mother, I will slaughter one by one.
It's probably not smart to give your plan away like that. Salem!
A familiar. Can't have that on the loose.
Don't you hurt Salem.
The Dark Lord forbids it. I forbid it.
Alright, you gotta figure out this is a nightmare, right?
Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live.
There's no way it would go this badly. She's gotta know this is a nightmare. Wow.
Poor Spellman. Rejected, tortured by the mortals you so love. Tell me, does it hurt? Are you in... I won't hurt you, kitty cat.
Salem's not stupid.
That was a speedy resurrection, sister.
Where is Hilda?
Am I my sister's keeper?
He just looks ridiculous.
I don't know where she is.
Don't lie to me. I am the father of lies. You killed her. Isn't that so?
I'm sorry, Dark Lord, but you don't understand. This is a little game we play. Punch and Judy. She'll come back.
A game?
You'll see.
Is that really a game that, you know, Hilda likes?
Not this time. This time, she is gone from your life.
Maybe Zelda's gonna, like, gain some insight from this? About her shitty treatment of her sister?
Configuration, and I found a spell to banish her. But I do know her name. Miss Wardwell told me it's Batty Net, and that might give me an edge. But I have to confront her, Salem. I can't run and leave my family to be tortured by her. Right now, my best shot is to surprise her. Before I wake up, do you know what I can do to stop her? She's the embodiment of nightmares, isn't she? Ready, back? Sabrina, you have to be clever. You have to trap. How can you tell me? Sabrina, what is her name? A dream gone bad, dream gone sour. You have to trap a nightmare the same way you trap a dream. Oh, my familiars can help. Your spider. Where is God? Leave me with her.
Good.
Ambrose. There's a sleep demon named Batty Net on the loose in the house. We're dreaming this. Purpus et infernus in terrus pari. Purpus et infernus in terrus pari. Et furata verba hybrid. Symbobis amnesia.
Good job, spiders. This is pretty gross, but good job.
Dream catchers don't trap dreams, Batty Bat. They trap nightmares.
Mm.
And sometimes the oldest, simplest magic works best.
Okay, that's pretty horrifying, but smart. Yay! Where did I don't know why I'm saying we. I have nothing to do with that.
I just had the most vivid dream. Yes, so did I. I owe you an apology, Sabrina. When you came to me in my dream, I was lily-livered, hysterical, coward. Only in that dream, it's only in that terrible dream. So, you walked through all of our dreams then. I did. But I can barely remember it. It's all so fuzzy. So fuzzy. Sabrina, what? It's the middle of the night. What can I do for you? You can start by telling me the truth about who and what you are.
Secret's out.
You better sit down then.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, that was episode 5. That was a good one. I thought it was fun. I liked Salem's role, Salem coming to the rescue and really helping out as much as possible. But besides the fact that it was, you know, just a fun episode involving all of the magic and the dream elements, I thought that there was also some good developments, some interesting developments. First, largely in terms of, again, Hilda and Zelda and their relationship. I liked that Zelda was kind of forced to confront her shitty treatment of partially Sabrina, but mostly Hilda, and how she's kind of really taken her for granted and just pushed her aside, and how much she really is actually important to her. So I'm hoping that this will kind of be a little bit of a wake-up call for her in terms of how she treats Hilda going forward. And building off of that, I also liked that it was Hilda in the end that was able to really help Sabrina and come up with the explanation, the idea of how she could actually do something to stop the sleep demon, Batty Bat. Especially because in the beginning, you know, as everyone seemed to assume, even in Sabrina's dream, that it would be Zelda who came through in a crisis. And Sabrina tries to reassure her in the end, you know, she does seem like someone who regularly can come through in crises, but I liked that they gave Hilda the opportunity to be the one here to really do it, to help Sabrina. And that spider thing, like I said, was pretty creepy, but it was clever, it was fun, so I liked that. And like I said, I liked Salem too, so familiars helping out coming through there in the end. And then the other big development, obviously, is that because she felt compelled to step in and try to help Sabrina, Miss Wardwell's secret that she's involved in this world, so to speak, that she's not just her teacher, or whoever it is that's inside Miss Wardwell's body anyway, is not just a teacher, but is actively involved in the kind of magical side of things. That has now come out. We see at the end Sabrina going to her house to try and confront her, so we'll see how that develops in the upcoming episodes. That's one thing that I'm really interested to see, is how she kind of deals with Sabrina knowing about this, how she moves forward from there. I did find it interesting how she actually jumped in and saved her. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, so far, based on everything I've seen, she most likely just did that solely because she feels like Sabrina belongs to the Dark Lord, and she has this kind of mission to get Sabrina down the dark path. And so it's not so much that she necessarily really cares about Sabrina and her family in any sort of way. She just has her own specific motives, and Sabrina and her family getting driven insane or destroyed or killed by the sleep demon don't really fall in with her plans or what she's supposed to be doing. So, but we'll see, you know, maybe there's more to her than meets the eye. We'll find out what happens as this goes forward, especially now that Sabrina is aware that she's actively involved in magic in some capacity. So we'll see how that works out. So just one other thing that I wanted to comment upon based on things that I've said in previous videos, and then some conversations I've been having with people in the comment sections of those videos, is that, you know, I've kind of regularly touched upon the fact that the more kind of magical side of things on the show is way more interesting to me than Sabrina's more mundane teenage life with her friends in the non-magical side, her mortal side. And I just want to be clear, it's not to say that I actively dislike that side of the show, or I have a problem with it. I feel like I don't even necessarily find it annoying in any way. It's just that it's not as appealing to me, so to speak, as the magical side, which is what I'm really more into. And I do feel like, you know, when I was just in the first couple of years of my undergraduate education, you know, when you're just not very far removed from your teenage years, that sometimes watching like teenage drama can be really like annoying or irritating. You might cringe internally, and a lot of that, in my opinion, really has to do with the fact that you're so close to that in time that you still remember maybe acting in a lot of those ways personally yourself. And a lot of those things that are happening seem really familiar, but you're also kind of at a stage where you're really like trying to distance yourself from that sort of attitude or mentality or life, so you maybe are harsher towards it than you otherwise would be. So for me now, being a few more years out of that, it's not, I don't get really annoyed or upset by seeing like teen drama. I just might not be as interested or invested in it. But one thing that I was thinking of, and through some of my conversations with people, is that, like I've mentioned before, I was always like a huge fan of the show Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and obviously, in addition to the magical elements, the supernatural elements of that show, there is teen and young adult drama going on too. But I think that for me, one of the reasons that maybe that wasn't so kind of bleh or boring in comparison is just that all of her friends, really most people in her world that she was close to, were aware of who she was eventually, and that's really when they started to become more interesting. It was kind of fun to see how these regular mortal people dealt with all the craziness coming into their lives. So I'm kind of wondering if maybe more people in Sabrina's mortal side of her life realize the truth about her, or find out the truth, that maybe and they get pulled into that world and are trying to deal with it, that might be a little bit more interesting to watch for me overall. So we'll see if that ends up happening, and you get hints of that so far throughout the season, even with her nightmare here, dealing with like how Harvey and everyone else would handle finding out the truth. And then we saw in the first episode when she was trying to kind of tell Harvey the truth, and it didn't really go very well. So we'll see. I have a feeling that sort of subject is going to come back again. So we'll be looking forward to seeing how that plays out. All right. So again, I just want to thank everybody for joining me for watching these reviews and reactions. And if you have any comments or questions, please do leave them down below and we can keep chatting. And otherwise, again, just thank you so much, and hopefully I will see you next time for episode 6. All right, bye.